online. Also want to welcome our friends on TikTok. I want to also say good morning, Minister McKenzie.
Morning, Minister Morgan.
It's good to have you. And
I understand. Good to see you, Nadine.
Good
and Colleen was inside here earlier on. I haven't been on love for
a long time. So thank you, Minister Morgan, for fixing that.
Well, Desmond says he has a favorite gospel song. Could you introduce your song for us, Desmond, please?
Well, I think probably one of Jamaica's not recognized gospel singer, Glacier Robinson. Hold my hands today. I think she's probably one of the greatest gospel singers we have produced since Claudel Clark.
Take it away, Nadine.
Wow, that's amazing.
My strength is surely failing as trials come both left and right. And in the center I'm now standing, not a trace of hope in sight. And if tears were only raindrops, the universe would be flooding now. So Lord, I call you today. Please don't pass me by. Hold my hand today. Let's guide my steps on the way. Please hear my call, for the cares of life is all I now see. Please walk me through them. That's all I ask of thee.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you very much for that. And you know, I can say that Desmond McKenzie is my friend. I've known him since I've been in this journey. From the beginning of this journey, he has been one of the seniors who has always been there. Sometimes in misery, yes, but he has always been giving us good guidance. And he's a man who has the respect of a lot of us young people, because whenever you ask Desmond an opinion, he always gives you the facts, no matter whether you like it or not. He's a man who loves his people. You know, so I want to just welcome Minister McKenzie to this program. Welcome, Minister.
Thanks for having me, and it is good to be back on Love FM. I used to be, you know, a regular participant on Love many years ago when you were in the Halfway Tree. So, you know, it's actually the first I've been here since you have relocated to this location. So it's good to see you, Nadine. And I saw Colleen earlier on. It would have been good to see Winston Redguard, but Winston has retired.
So Desmond, tell me, Minister McKenzie, you are the Member of Parliament for West Kingston. And I always try to make this distinction, you know, because people make the mistake of thinking that the police division Western Kingston and West Kingston is the same.
No, it is not the same. West Kingston is a part of the Kingston Western Police Division. Now, the Kingston Western Police Division spans 3 constituencies. Right. It spans Southwest St. Andrew, and it spans South St. Andrew, and it also borders on Kingston Central.
So you are just a small part of that.
Just a small, division. As a matter of fact, the smallest of the 3 areas that makes up the Kingston Western Police.
So when we hear the news story say XYZ happening in the Western Kingston Police Division, it's not your constituency.
No, it doesn't necessarily. No, and many times because they use the term Kingston Western Police Division. And then there are similarities with roads in West Kingston, like what would be in, let us say, in South St. Andrew or Southwest St. Andrew. People get it mixed up. You know, we have Wellington Street in in Denham Town, there's a Wellington Road, a crossover in Southwest. So, there are times it becomes a little bit confusing.
Tell me this. You are the Member of Parliament. You're the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. But you were also a Member of Parliament with a long history. Why did you decide to switch from being the Mayor of Kingston to the Member of Parliament?
Well, let us put it this way. The fact is that you have to step up. Almost everybody who represented West Kingston before me, with the exception of Mr. Seaga and Mr. Golden, were once councillors.
Really?
Yes.
So you started out as a councillor?
Started out as a councillor. So the first Member of Parliament would have been Sir Alexander Bustamante.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first Mayor of Kingston and councillor.
Right.
And so too was the Most Honourable Hugh Shearer.
So when did you become a councillor?
I became a councillor. I'm going to...
Don't tell your age, Do you have 70s, 80s, 90s?
I became a councillor in 1977.
So hold on, but Desmond, that makes you one of the most experienced politicians in the house.
It would also be fair to say that I am the longest
What is it like, though, being the representative of one of the most vibrant constituencies, one of the constituencies that has some of the richest history, but also one of the constituencies that has been challenged over the years?
Well, let us put it this way. West Kingston, Mr. Seaga used to describe us as a place that stimulates you. So it is West Kingston is the heart of commerce in the country. Mm-hmm. It is the commercial life of the country.
Coronation Market,
right? It is a seat of government. It is where the Parliament or our Supreme Court exists. It is where our court system exists, and it is also the center of banking.
Mm-hmm.
The Bank of Jamaica is in West Kingston. It is the center where our oil refinery exists, so West Kingston is not an ordinary constituency. It is an area which possesses 90% of Jamaica's life. West Kingston does.
Wow, that's amazing. So you are the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. What does that mean?
Well, local government deals with all the local issues: parks, cemeteries, street light, garbage collections.
So you are the one who got the 50 garbage trucks?
Well, yes, it is my administration as minister, through this administration of Prime Minister Andrew Hodis. As a matter of fact, that was the greatest investment ever made, largest investment ever made in the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
Do you remember the last time we ever bought garbage trucks for NSWMA?
Well, the last time we bought it was when I became minister in 2016. We bought about 10, 12.
And before that?
Before that, I can't say. Before that, I can't say. I know when I became the minister in 2016, the country had about 12 garbage trucks island-wide.
12 garbage trucks?
12 garbage trucks island-wide. So solid waste, when we took over, was running on fumes. And that is why we had the problems that we experienced at the time.
So it's not surprising then, Minister, that so many persons would have had issues with garbage collection, because if you started off with 12 and now you have what, about 70 odd?
No. Since we became, we have brought into the system over 100 garbage trucks.
100 trucks? Since
2016, but you must remember also, once the trucks expand beyond 5 years, they
start breaking down.
Right, because of the wear and the tear.
So, are we producing more garbage, Desmond?
We are, and especially commercial garbage, because while it is not our responsibility, but we do engage in the collection of commercial garbage, but we have seen a greater inflow of domestic garbage than previously before.
Mm-hmm. So you are responsible for garbage collection. You're also responsible for street lighting.
Yes, garbage collection.
Tell us a little bit about the street lighting responsibility.
Well, street lights, we are the ones that pays JPS the street light bill. Now, the monthly obligation to the Jamaica Public Service Company for street lights right across the country is around $370 million a month.
But you guys owed them some money.
When we took over government, when the Prime Minister Holness appointed me as the Minister of Local Government, we were owing the Jamaica Public Service Company close to $5 billion at the time.
$5 billion.
$5 billion. As a matter of fact, when I took over, we were only giving JPS like 100 million every other month.
So hold on. So we as a country before 2016,
yes,
owed JPS over $5 billion for street lights.
Over $5 billion at street lights. And
no wonder the light them never did that work.
And the fact is that a significant portion of the street lights weren't working. So what we did, as a matter of fact, I started those discussions from Minister Shaw was there.
Right.
In regards to how do we extricate ourselves from that huge debt that we were experiencing on a monthly basis. And Minister Clark came on and we were able to wipe the slate clean.
Right.
So we paid off in excess of $7 billion that was owing to the Jamaica Public Service Company. And we are now current in our payments to the Jamaica Public Service Company because it is an obligation that we have. I will not say that I am comfortable with the level of the operations of streetlights. As a matter of fact, the new CEO came to see me about 2 weeks ago, and I did share some of the concerns I have, but there have been significant improvements, and we have been installing new streetlights right across the country. So there has been significant improvements in streetlights across the country.
So if a citizen wishes to inquire about street lighting, how do they go about that?
They can write to the Ministry of Local Government or send it to the Municipal Corporation.
So they talk to the parish council.
They talk to the parish council. When citizens call, I would recommend to persons, if you are going to be making complaints about a street light that is not working, each street light has a pole and the pole has a number.
Right.
So it would be good if you say that pole number so and so at point A so and so needs to be repaired. We get onto it, and I must commend JPS. I have to say it publicly because whenever we do get these calls and we give the correct information, the Jamaica Public Service Company respond, and they respond in very, very, very good time.
So your garbage collection, street lighting, but you also have overall responsibility for the parish councils.
For the parish councils,
is it KSAC or is it KSAMC? Because people are confused.
There are no longer parish councils, but
Okay.
because we all grew up in a system which is archaic, which is over more than 100 years old, because
Right.
it is one of the legacy of the colonial system that we have. There are no municipal corporations.
Right.
But people still refer to them as parish councils, but there are municipal corporations now.
Mm-hmm. So what is the role of the municipal corporation, Minister?
Well, everything parochial, roads, garbage, cemeteries, building approvals, butcher's license.
So people need approval to build buildings?
Yes. Well,
But no, man, but from where you we see people just buy 100 block and do a little thing.
that is illegal. Every form of construction, every form of demolition, if you're even putting down a temporary structure, let us say, since I'm at a radio station which is fully gospel, when the churches wants to keep a convention and they want to erect a tent,
right,
the law requires that they have to make an application, a building application for a tent, for a temporary structure. So each building requires construction. If you are renovating, you have to advise, and then you'll be told whether or not the level of the renovation that you're undertaking requires approval. But you do require building approvals, you do require subdivision approvals. So it is a whole.
So let us stick on the building approval process first. Because the reason why I asked the question the way I asked it is that we saw recently where a baby died because of a collapse of a house.
Well, as a matter of fact, the commissioner of fire was with me yesterday morning.
Yes.
And he advised me of the incident, and he told me that they don't anticipate, based on the what took place, that the child would have survived. Right. I just want to commend those firefighters who had to be given counseling, because they were the ones that had to dig through the rubble to recover the body of the child. What that means, and the KSMAC, in whose jurisdiction that falls, will be investigating, but it is clear that it is faulty construction that would have caused the collapse of that structure.
So that's why it's so important.
Important that persons observe the building regulations apply, because you can't just build anywhere just like that. Because if you do, you're not only jeopardizing your neighbors, but you're putting at risk the lives of your family and your loved ones. And, the circumstances as to why this house collapse is not yet fully known. But once that is known, I will be making a statement, to say what are the causes why the building collapsed.
So let's say I have a piece of land, my granny give me somewhere in country, and I want to put up a little ranch, as they call it. What do I do?
Well, first of all, you can't just build, even if it's your parents' property, because each building application has to be accompanied by a title or a letter with the title giving authorization for you to build. So first of all, you have to submit your plans to the municipal corporations. It has to be done by a professional architect, with all the details and what you are proposing to do. Once that is done, you pay your necessary fees, and then once you get the approval, you proceed to build according to what was approved by the municipal corporation. And during the period of the construction, it is the municipal authority's responsibility to monitor and to ensure that the development, whatever was approved, that is what is being built on the ground.
So tell me something, Minister. So is there a limit as to how much I can build? So let's say we hear that there are some communities that you can have X amount of rooms and others that you can only have Y. Why is that so, and how do I know?
Okay, there is a thing that is called density, and there is a planning zone planning as it relates to zones. Now, the KSMAC and the municipal corporations only grant building approvals. We do have some level of planning approval, but NEPA is the sole authority on planning in terms of density. When it reaches a certain level, NEPA would advise or would recommend the number of houses. So let us take a housing development. Let us take a multi-story facility, an high-rise building. NEPA has to come in because the building has to be constructed to allow parking for each room.
Each room?
Yes. So there has to be parking.
So each room has to have parking?
Right. So NEPA will determine the how many parking is going to be available, and all the other issues around planning. The National Water Commission has to indicate that they are in a position to provide water.
So before you build, NWC has to be sure that they can provide water.
Based on the nature of the development.
Right.
We would say to the NWA, is there water available? Is there sewage available? So if sewage is available, fine. If water is available, fine. If sewage is not available, then the person who is building has to put into that approval how they intend
to dispose
of the sewage.
So that's why we see them digging up the road, up short of the road and all of these places.
Because they have to, the development before the approval is granted requires that you put in sewage and water to adequately provide for persons who you are building for.
So I have gone to KCMC, I've gone to NEPA, I have gone and I've
No, you don't go to NEPA. You would send building applications to the KCMC.
Right.
And once it comes in, the KCMC will feed it out. So we have to send it to NWA to find out, is it possible to have this development on Agley Park Road? How would it impede the traffic flow, the exits, the entrance? So all of that comes into the KSMAC and then it is filtered out to the various agencies. So many times you hear people complaining about, boy, my plan is there and it takes long. It's not that it is taking long. It has to go through a process, and that is why we have given a 90-day window to say, well, then within 90 days,
right,
you can expect to get approval. Sometimes it goes beyond 90 days because of the nature of the development. And sometimes the plans that is submitted does not meet the requirement in terms something is wrong, so we have to send it back to the persons to say, you need to get this corrected. So it is not inefficiency on the part of the local authorities at times, is because there are steps to be taken, and if we don't follow those steps, the same people who are agitating that they want is the same people who's going to come back and be critical.
Joy Cephas is asking,
yes,
what can be done about the shops, garages, and other businesses that are being constructed in schemes?
First of all, there are to be no commercial activities in residential communities. I do get a lot of those letters and complaints from residents across, and especially
are garages allowed in residential?
There are no residential areas that should facilitate garage or shops or supermarkets. If that is not built, if there are complex that is being built where commercial entities are approved as a part of the overall
development.
Development. But for a man just to turn his or her place into a shop or into a garage, it is illegal, and the local authorities have the power to move in and to take action with people like NEPA to shut them down.
So if I'm a resident of, let's use a mundane one, Lovely Meadows, and I see a man start fixing cars in front of him.
No, that is not
what
permitted.
do I do?
That, first of all, that is to be reported to the local authorities. One of the things that I notice is that a number of cars are parked, sidewalks are taken up by roadside garages, used car dealers.
Right.
Use the roads for the sales of motor vehicle and the repairs. All of that is illegal. What needs to be done under the
so when you see them park the car on the roadside with the fire sale sign on it?
It is illegal. It is for action for the police to take and for the local authorities to take. I used to move them. I used to move them.
I don't know when I was young and I watched Desmond going downtown. When Desmond walking downtown as mayor,
I used to move them. So it is illegal. It is illegal. And some of those vehicles can be used as garbage because if they are there but what is required is that you post the notices on them. So the KSMA would post the notice and solid waste would post the notice. And after a period of time, if they don't remove them, you take a record, you move them. But the day-to-day activity where they are on the sidewalks with signs there are really a breach, and it is also actions that the police are to take because it is obstructing pedestrian and vehicular traffic.
Somebody was asking about a road at the Oxford, is it Oxford Complex downtown? There's in the market.
Oxford Mall, Oxford Mall.
They were asking if there's any plans to repair that road there.
Well, there's a comprehensive program now taking place in downtown Kingston within the Market District, where the work now is taking place to replace the old sewage lines that are downtown that has been creating problems, especially in the Market District. So once all those works have been completed, as a matter of fact, there's another phase of the work which is to come in shortly. I am supposed to be meeting with the president of the National Water Commission and the persons who are undertaking the work to see how best it can be done with little with little dislocation. But once the sewage line and the pipelines in downtown, especially around the Coronation Market, Beckford Street, Pichong Street, Princess Street, Orange Street, Matthews Lane, within that area, Airwood Street, once that is done, once the pipes are put in, then all the roads will be repaired.
If a church is having a street meeting, do they need to get permit?
They do, but it is not enforced, and I didn't really enforce it. What I did and what we do ask, though, that if you are using tents, that you do get permission for erecting tents. But a normal street side meeting is not really something that I used to interfere with, and I don't think much enforcement is done on
Once
that.
them don't turn up the speaker too loud.
Well, I mean that goes to everybody. The noise abatement goes also the churches also.
Really?
Yes, noise abatement goes to
You
churches.
sure that's man?
Yes, it does. It is just that
Which police are better to
because of our respect.
You see that police officer walking?
And that is why. But a lot of the churches, and forgive me, Colleen, for saying, and Nadine for saying, but a lot of the churches do, create some level of disturbance, even although it is beautiful disturbance, but it still, prevent you from sleeping. But the noise abatement goes right across the board. So whether it is a party, whether it is a church, whether it's a public meeting, the noise abatement covers everybody. That the noise must be the music, the sound must be at a certain level.
So I'm gonna ask you about permits and all of those later, but I have some questions lined up. Are bars allowed in residential areas?
As I said before, those are commercial activities. Bars can be allowed in areas where it is residential, but it is you do have residential communities that carry bars, because some main roads in residential communities, you have residential activities taking there.
Right.
But inside a community where a man transforms
in carport,
no, that is illegal.
What is the role and function of the municipal police?
The municipal police is what we tried to do. Many years ago, I don't know if people know that the auxiliary police, who was then known as the Blue Scene Police, was the ones who maintained public order on the streets. They were the ones that you used to parade our markets. They used to do all the things. The role of the municipal police is to help to maintain order within the space, to enforce that vending is not done outside of the no vending areas. But I must admit that there has been challenges with some municipal police, and that program is under review in a way to give them more authority to for them to act in a way that is conducive with good order. But they do play a critical role. But a lot of times the roles of the municipal police is undermined because of their actions, and a lot of people do have regards. Even for the regular police, they do have regards for the regular police. So it's a challenge.
So one of the questions somebody was asking is, how are we doing with infirmaries, and what is the situation with the nurses at the infirmaries?
Well, I must say that the infirmaries in Jamaica has never been in a better place than it has been since 2016.
Right.
All our infirmaries, we do have what? We have 13 infirmaries and 2 golden age homes. So we do have 15 such institutions across the country, which is in excellent condition. The one we have some challenges in St. Anne, which we are dealing with that to sort of carry out some repairs. But in terms of our infirmaries, fantastic. And I don't know if a lot of Jamaicans know, but during COVID, our infirmaries stood out as one of the Jamaica stood out as one of the best countries when it comes down to keep and care within our elderly space, because within the infirmary we have only had 10 deaths in the infirmaries, and there has been one that there was not a single death recorded during COVID.
Right.
And that is the Denham Town Golden Age Home in my constituency. So the infirmaries are in very good conditions. We have provided significant financial support to the infirmaries. First thing we have done, we brought in our dietitians into our infirmaries. So all the infirmaries now, the residents eat a steady meal because there's a dietitian. We have a physiotherapist in all our infirmaries now working with the residents. We are now bringing in psychiatric nursing aid on our staff to be a part of that, to give greater care in that area. So all our infirmaries, as I said before, with the exception of St. Anne, which we are providing over
so
some
you visited
60.
there and you
Right.
said you're going to do some repairs there.
We're providing over some $60 million to carry out repairs to that infirmary, which is in a bad way. I must admit that sections of it is in a bad way. And since I am on here, you know, the Press Association of Jamaica wrote me that I bar the press from visiting the infirmary. Let me say that I didn't bar the press. As a matter of fact, we have never allowed the media to go into the infirmary because it is not permissible for pictures of the residents
to be published.
Right. So when we go to certain sections of the infirmaries and the media is there, we do ask the media to consider the privacy
of the individuals.
So when I see that I bar the media, it is unfortunate. I did not.
Okay, sir. So as somebody says, Miss Official says, Minister, you have done a great job by building that rehabilitation building on King Street. Which building is that, Minister McKenzie?
It is the facility that was constructed for the homeless population, the Desmond McKenzie Center. It is something that I've been trying with since 2010, from I was mayor, to get it up. You know, because the homeless population has grown. There are over 3,500 homeless persons across the streets of Jamaica. And in my constituency, we have close to 1,000 homeless people within downtown Kingston.
Are these all mad people, though, Minister?
Well, the on-site survey that we did tells you that there are a few that are mental cases,
right?
A few which are genuinely homeless. And when we did the survey, we discovered that there are about 4 categories of persons that are living on our streets. You have some who come from country, come to town to seek better life, or they were encouraged to come by a young girl or you know, somebody encouraged them to come. They didn't get a job, they fall on hard time, so they end up on the streets. You have some people who have been deported,
right,
who have come back to Jamaica, have no family, they end up on the streets. And then there's another category of persons who are not considered really homeless, but who comes out and spend the day to get a meal and then they go back home. So there are about 4 categories of persons, and we do have...
So there are people who are there not because they are mentally ill, but just hard times, circumstances.
Just hard times. And we do have a lot of them now that is in the facility, Mary Atkins and the one at King Street. We have provided drop-in centers and shelters right across the country now. So almost every parish in Jamaica would have what we call a drop-in center. and we are moving now to put shelters in everyone so that at least the homeless people can have somewhere, especially during disaster, hurricanes and all that sort of thing. We take them up, we put them into these facilities, and we're going to be rolling more of that out across the country.
So you are actually feeding and clothing and shelter.
We do. Every municipality provide feeding for the homeless twice a day.
Twice a day,
7 days a week. We provide medical care. They can go to the drop-in center. They are seen by doctors. We provide clothing. We do a lot for the homeless population.
You have another program that I want us to touch base on, but before that, I wanted to ask a question that I saw on the line. Mr. McKenzie, I know of an old lady who lives in a deplorable condition. What should we advise if you know of somebody who's in a deplorable condition?
What you need to do is to find the nearest municipal corporation, send that information, or send it to me at the Ministry of Local Government with the name, address of the person. Once I get it, we find them, and once they qualify, we will move them into the facility, or we will get the poor relief officers to visit visit them. And if the persons live somewhere but they don't have the necessary keep and care, they can be placed on the poor relief list and becomes a part of the responsibility of local government to take care of them.
How many indigent houses have you built since you've been a minister?
Wow. I have probably built close to 100 right across the country.
Tell me how does that program work?
Well, normally indigent housing has been a part of local government for centuries. But normally what we used to do is to see board houses being built.
They used to build board houses?
Board houses, yeah. And in many cases, 8 out of every 10 of those board houses would end up, catching fire because they'd use lamp and tinning and candle and all that sort of thing. So I decided when I started in 2017 that the best way to go is to build lasting
concrete house.
Right. Because remember, when you get these indigent housing, it doesn't really belongs to you, it belongs to the local authorities.
Really?
So when you die, you can pass it on to anybody.
Oh.
Right? So it is a part of a growing stock. Of things. So we build these houses, and we've seen now where cases, desperate cases, where people really need them. So we have built studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and we have even built 3 bedrooms for families.
Right.
Yeah. So real families that are in need. I mean, there is a case in Moreland Hill of a family. I mean, in my life, is the first I broke down and cried publicly, seeing the conditions that family was living under. So, and we have another 40 that is currently either under construction or to start soon. So we are expecting that by next year we would be close to 170 in terms of, and we just got some money in the new supplementary to assist in the rollout of these houses, which are really badly needed by Jamaicans right across.
So do you as a minister actually go out there and look at the conditions?
I do, and I do get letters from persons, and I send out to do the investigations, and when it comes back, these people are in need. I mean, I was in Hanover 2 weeks ago. I was appalled at the conditions that I saw 2 gentlemen living under in Hanover. I saw a similar thing when I was in Montego Bay 2 weeks before. So I do go out to see what is taking place. So I have an appreciation of the concerns that people have about how they live. And as a person who grew up in local government, and as a person who grew up knowing what difficult times were, having an appreciation and the fact that this government, has built its platform and being a caring and understanding government, it is important that we align ourselves with these concerns and act as quickly as we can to remedy the problems.
So somebody says here, listening to a very interesting and informative program with Minister of Local Government. My question is, can a recording studio be in a residential community? And who has the responsibility to enforce such a breach?
Again, those are commercial activities. Now, a recording studio necessarily does not disturb, but it is what follows the recording studio. So again, persons can, because you have a right to. You have a right, and it is a breach. You need a license to operate anything commercial in a residential area. That is the answer to the question. Let me just say though, that the law also protects the wrongdoers, because if you are operating unmolested
for a long time,
for a certain period of time.
So if you see it building, as you see it come, and you don't want it in the community, you need to report it.
So the law really, is a two-edged sword.
Right.
So persons, we do get these complaints, and I must tell you, it is a challenge because, people really sometimes go beyond, go out of their way.
How you plan to deal with the unlicensed bars and corner shops? That is what Bulbs is asking.
Well, first of all, let me say that corner shops and bars are actually regulated by the Ministry of Justice.
Oh.
So for you to operate a bar, you need a license.
It is my intention.
But you need a license. You have to go to the courts.
Oh, you can tell us a little bit about that thing there, Mr. Des. It is my intention to apply for a street license.
Well, I think
and that's on the bar for 30 years.
Yeah, because of the process that you have to go through.
Right.
To gain a license to operate a bar or a nightclub or even to sell liquor. Right. It is not just for the bar alone, but to sell any form of alcohol.
Right.
You have to apply to the nearest police station within your area, and the police will come and inspect, and then you have to go to court.
Really?
They call your name, Mr. Morgan, and you go in, and the judge will whatever, and then you get the license.
Right.
So that is why, the law provides
that you can have an interim.
Yeah, you can put it while the process. But once you obtain the license, you need to take down the sign.
So it
has not been enforced.
Why Jamaicans are so innovative, Jamaicans are so innovative. Tell me a little bit about your markets, Minister. How many markets do we have in Jamaica?
We have about 35 markets across the country. The corporate area has the bulk of that. In downtown alone, we have 11 markets in downtown Kingston. Plus, we have the Papine market, we have the DC Tavares market, and we have the Stone Hill market. The Constant Spring market doesn't exist anymore. The Norman Manley market is still there, but it really does not.
Where is Norman Manley Market?
It's on Windward Road, just between Windward Road and up and Lower Elliston Road.
Really? I never knew that you had a Norman Manley Market.
Yeah, and the DC Tavares Market out at 3 miles.
How many markets you have downtown, Desmond?
We have about 11 markets downtown.
11 markets? I know you have
we have Chiggerfoot, Queens, Redemption.
Where is Chiggerfoot?
Grassyard. Grassyard, we have Purnell Charles Arcade, we have Woolman's Grounds, we have about 11. We have about 11 markets
in less than a square mile.
And this is why I said to you that downtown Kingston is the heart of the commercial life of Jamaica.
Right.
In downtown Kingston on any given, right now, today is Wednesday, probably one of the slowest days in downtown
Kingston. That is when the trucks come in.
Well, they would come in on a Thursday, start coming in tonight and for the weekend. In any given day right now, more than $100 million would have passed hands in downtown Kingston, exchanging business right now.
Right.
Yes. So it is the commercial life of Jamaica.
Right. So you have built some markets and repaired some since you.
We have built markets. We have built the new markets in Highgate, in Portmore and St. Mary, the Clarkstown market in Trelawney, the Opal market in Hanover, the Rose Fish Market in downtown Kingston. We came in on the downside of the Falmouth market, where we work closely with the Port Authority to build the new Falmouth market. Actually started before me. That market was built. We have repaired numerous markets across the country.
You plan to build any more markets?
We're not looking at building anymore. No, what we're looking at is to repair these markets. But we're doing a survey now to find out the viability of markets, whether or not markets is viable in the way that markets used to be. We're spending some 20 odd million taking repairs in the Buff Bay market now, and the market in Port Antonio, in Port Antonio,
that's
the Musgrave market. Yes, we're working now to commence repairs on that market. Those are critical markets.
So you know which is the oldest market in Jamaica?
All our markets are more than 100 years old. Remember, our markets were built. That is one of the things we inherited from our colonial.
That's where the poor people from country used to go and
and that is what we inherit from our colonial masters.
Right.
The Carnation market, the history of that, the market came about during the coronation of King, I think the King. Right. And that is why the name is Carnation Market. And it is actually, that was where the Maypen Cemetery was before.
So the cemetery was where the market is.
Yeah, that was where the cemetery was before. So it is all our markets are old markets. If you go into the markets and look at the framing, the beams, cast iron, I tell you, right. 135 years old and all that sort of thing. Old markets we have.
What can we do, and what can you do as a minister to deal with the issue of parish council roads?
Well, let me just say this. There's about 27,000 kilometers or more of road work across Jamaica. The municipal corporation has responsibility for about 24,000 of that.
So most roads in Jamaica,
as a matter of fact, all the roads prior to 1981-82 was actually under
parish council.
Under the parish councils. Stoplights and all that thing was also their responsibility. But when in the 80s, when a new dispensation was made, it was transferred. It is difficult, and I must be honest with you, it is a challenge because over the years, the roads have been allowed to deteriorate.
Some of the roads not fixed for 30, 40 years.
Right. I mean, I saw some road conditions in Hanover and in Westmoreland, and I can't believe that these roads existed. But we have been trying our best to see how best we can improve the roads. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. But there's also another consideration that we have to look at. So persons wash motor vehicles on the road.
Garages and
and it helps to, contribute to the destruction of the roads. But that is not an excuse as to why the roads are. But remember now, I just want your listeners and your viewers to remember that this government has made a commitment and a significant investment in roads. And we are seeing the benefit of it in some places that we go.
And somebody's asking, Minister, is it right for people to build up shacks on Willardine Parkway? Can something be done there, bringing down the community?
And again, that is not permissible. That is for the municipal authorities. they can, once that comes, the municipal authority, Willowdene is in St. Catherine. So that is the responsibility of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation to move. There, look, I used to do it, Once you put up the structure, right, you give them the notice, bam, you knock it down. You knock it down. Right? People took me I went as far as to the Privy Council with South Avenue, and I won. And I came back and I knocked it down.
Minister, I want to ask you some questions about downtown, because a lot of the questions are coming in. When can we see some improvement in the water situation in West Kingston?
But when I tell people that in the heart of your city, and I want to say, we have an antiquated water line in downtown Kingston.
Water line.
I don't know if a lot of people know, but downtown Kingston, when Kingston was created, was the first residential area, downtown Kingston. Denham Town was one of the oldest residential communities in Jamaica. So what you find in these areas that the pipelines that are there are old.
Right.
So when the water goes in and you turn the pressure, it breaks in many places.
Right.
So the government has just concluded putting in a new pipeline.
Right. That's the Spanish Town Road.
On Spanish Town Road.
Right.
So what is happening now that they are now working now on the laterals now.
Lateral meaning the one to connect the lanes and
connect. And again, that's a lot of work. And again, that also takes time. There has been some improvement over the last 2 weeks or so, because they have turned on certain sections and some communities are getting water, but we still have to be trucking water to many communities. And I want to give the call and the listener and listeners, the person who just sent the message, the assurance that by the middle of next year, there will be significant improvement to the water and the sewage in downtown Kingston.
What's up with the operation of removing old park vehicle in communities? That's what Lucas Styles is asking.
Well, as I said earlier on, that is the responsibility for the local authorities. They serve, they can work with solid waste. On the matter of solid waste, have done that. They post a notice on the vehicles to give the people 48 hours, and if that is not done, they remove it and carry to the dump.
Minister, another question. What is the process of, I don't know if this is yours, what is the process of obtaining land to establish a school? I don't think that is your question.
That is not my question.
Well, Minister, we've had a wonderful discussion, but there's so much more to discuss, but I want to end with a few questions that you would like to answer for your constituents. I know that there are things that as a minister you have always wanted to articulate and speak about. As the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, what is the biggest issue that you have that you'd like the public to be aware of?
For me, we can't achieve anything without a disciplined society.
Right.
And let me be honest with you. I organize almost on a daily basis. How do we respond to the persons who dispose of garbage? Even although the provisions are there, people just drive the motor car. For me, if we can, as a society, accept our role in terms of us being responsible for the things we do, then once we accept that, I think we have a better society. We can say all we want to do, put in all the measures. If the minds of people don't change, we're going to have problems.
So you're saying that the issue of garbage is a serious thing that concerns you?
No, it is, because I'll give you an example. I was going to Parliament last week, Tuesday, and I came up at around Euro Circle, just across from the Ministry of Finance. And when I saw the garbage that was thrown there by persons, when I drove further down to the Ministry of Labour, there was another pile of garbage there. I called the Executive Director, Mr. Gordon, and I spoke to him. And he said, Minister, the truck was there this morning. And he says, okay. He sent me pictures an hour after of the trucks cleaning up the garbage around Euro Circle. This was about 2:30. At about 4:15, going up back, going home after Parliament, I didn't call Mr. Gordon because there was more garbage there than I saw before.
So people were dumping the garbage there.
This is just something that bothers me. Why is it we can't? And I maintain it, and I will say it. If we provide a garbage truck for every community in Jamaica, if the minds of people don't change, then we're going to be wasting time spending money to buy garbage trucks.
So, is a thing that I have seen as well, Minister, where it's called travel waste. It seems as if people driving sometimes they throw the KFC out of the. But how do you manage that though? You cannot sit down in every car.
We can't. And you know, then when we impose these fines, you hear that, you know, we hard on these poor people, and you know, but you know, we have to make a decision as a country, and it is not for government to enforce and to hold a big stick over everybody's head. We must decide what we want as a country, and once we agree on that, then we move towards that. And you know, it is rather disturbing that, and some of the cars that you see drive up and throw the bags through the windows are not cheap motor cars. It's not a poor box or one little full car. Some of the most expensive motor vehicles, you know. And when you and I mean, I had a retreat with the National Solid Waste Management Authority last week. They have had over 5,000 cases that they have taken to court.
People will litter.
Yes, over 5,000.
No man, that's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice at all.
Right? You know, so it is not that they're not working, but we need the buy-in of the country. We need people to understand, you know, that if the country is not clean, then we don't expect to get anything done. We need a clean country, and we can do it because, you know, Margaret Thatcher came to Jamaica in the 80s and spoke glowingly about how clean the city of Kingston was, and said that, you know, she wished that London would
take a page out of
yes, you know, people used to talk about us.
Minister Desmond McKenzie, we are now at 12 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
But it's a pleasure, and I really enjoyed being here, and it was good to see faces that I have not seen in quite a long time.
Love 101 FM, the family station. This has been Ask the Minister. Thank you for those on Facebook. For those, sorry. Good morning, Minister. My apologies. This has been Good Morning, Minister, and Love 101, the family station. I don't know, I'm slipping up the shows. Thanks to those on Instagram, on Facebook, on my friends on TikTok. Most of you were all well behaved today. Some of you weren't, but give thanks nonetheless. Thanks to all those on the GIS pages, GIS on Facebook and so on. And also thanks to the team here, and thanks to my team. And big thanks to Minister McKenzie for stepping in. Until next week, 11 a.m., Love 101 FM, the family station. I think I'm going to apply for your work here. I may have the vice.
Might as well.
Have a safe week, and God bless you, everybody. Take care.